Ciao, hi, hey, holla, guys. I'm just going to check I'm live on Facebook as well. Just waiting on Facebook. Hope it won't be too long. Right on cue. Ciao, hi, hey, holla. It's your boy M.K.S, guys, amigos. Hope everyone's well. Very well. I was going to say, trying to be a bit humorous. I've become the sheikh. I've become the prince of an Arab nation. I'm the sheikh of Shentonland. Something like that. Obviously, I'm joking, but just in case you didn't know that. Anyway, sorry. I thought I'd finish part four of um, my plans for a Black Millionaires network. Um, Part of me was thinking of waiting until next Monday, so it was like Millionaire Mondays, but I thought I'd get it out of the way. Then I know I've done it, done and dusted with my tick off list, which I probably should have a tick off list and that kind of thing. I was thinking, like, before I made this video, I was thinking about how I get distracted by things and how I'd love to never be distracted ever. But then again, I have my own distractions, so it's my own fault sometimes. When I get distracted, um, right on cue, my cat was trying to open the door or whatever, but I just heard him in the background. But yeah, I'd love to be able to just focus on things and like get things done ideally, but um, in a smart way without having to work hard. I'm very much an idealist and a dreamer. But anyway, on that note, I think that was one or two things I was going to say, but I can't remember. But anyway, these are pointers number 31 to 40, and as per usual, I thought I'd look at what I hope to achieve in the future, preferably ASAP. Oh, one thing actually, that's one thing I was going to say, and I almost forgot, is RIP to Jesse Jackson, the Reverend Jesse Jackson, who passed away, I believe, today or yesterday. I just saw the news, unfortunately. I mean, he was 84, so he had a good one, you could say, but RIP, thoughts to his family and all that kind of thing. In Black History Month, all times. But obviously, I didn't know him personally, I never met him, but um, so I don't know what he was like, but I know he did a lot of good things for the African American community. But anyway, I thought I'd say RIP. So starting on a fairly negative note, I guess, but I guess as I say, he did live up to 84. Um, so he had a good run and hopefully a good life, which I wish for everyone, really, whatever background they are. Another thing I heard of before that actually was about I've read something or heard something actually rather on YouTube rather me read. I heard something about Lonnie. I forgot his surname. The inventor of the Super Soaker, who's an African American guy. I was going to say he was, but he's still with us, and I think he's had 100 or over 100 patents. Um, and I know I mentioned in previous videos that like about how black millionaires, or even well, maybe not billionaires, but millionaires wouldn't necessarily have to be in the world of business. I suppose he is a business person in a way, an inventor, but inventors, musicians, um, movie stars or whatever, producers, directors or whatnot. I guess it is the movie and music industries, what they are, music and movie industries, but there are different industries than just running your own business where you can earn that kind of money, I guess. And his net worth, I think, is said to be about between 200 to $400 million. So he would come in this list or this network if you wanted to join. So, and also the inventor of the GPS system, although unfortunately she is quite old now, I think 92 or something. But yeah, so two great black success stories for Black History Month, of course, which is what I'm trying to focus on. But anyway, onto the list. These are pointers number 31 to 40. So here goes. So number 31, I dream to get this started off and up and running off the ground. I haven't really thought of a date of when. I thought hopefully sharing this idea, some might call it putting it out to the universe or manifesting or whatever, but I'm just sharing the ideas and putting them out there. Talking about Lonnie again, I'm sorry, I forgot his surname, and the inventor of the GPS system, although I guess she is quite old now, but anyone who is both black and a millionaire would be able to join this network ideally if and when it got up and running. I'd love to be the founder or co-founder at least of it, known as the person who came up with the idea and have 10% of the equity, which I talked about before. But it could have a different, more than likely, the CEO, MD, or chairwoman or chairman would be preferably a black millionaire or millionaires, respectively, or even maybe as the chair of it could be a billionaire or even a billionairess in the future. But I guess in order to be a member, you would have to have to be known to have a net worth of between $1 million to just under $1 billion. So anywhere between that range to be. I take things quite literally, although you could say I say millionaires network, but it could be millionaires or millionairesses. But if you're a billionaire, you'd be in a different network. Although I also dream to cover all the bases, to have like a network for people who haven't. There could be a version for like people who have, for black people who have $1 million or more. So that would include billionaires as well. So there could be one for millionaires and billionaires as well. Number 32. I know it does sound strange. I'm quite a strange guy, admittedly, but you can probably tell. But you would have, but yeah, it probably sounds I'm very materialistic, but I would love to, if I had 10% of the equity, I would love to give it away to my 5 causes, which I talked about before. I think as well as having the money and networking together and that kind of thing, and investing, pooling money and resources together, they would also be able to learn a lot from each other, which I think is something that's really good to learn for the future. I'm a big fan of, like, I suppose in a way I'm a big fan of learning, although I'm a bit lazy, but not very lazy, but if I'm honest, but I guess learning new things and things like education, knowledge, and info, and all that kind of thing. I would redefine that. So I'm not a big fan of academia, but I'm a big fan of learning in a different way and learning what suits your style or whatever. But I think a lot of school is like dumbed down to control people and that kind of thing. That's my opinion. I know a lot of people share that opinion, but in fact, I didn't just think that. Like, I learned it off other people. But they say like schools were built like factories to produce people to go and work and that kind of thing. So I'd say I would redefine education. Although I think there are some areas where it is important, and some people disagree with, which is fine. Some people might say they're big fans of academic education or whatever, and qualifications. And I think it's good to show the world what you can do, I guess. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of academic education, but I redefine education. But yeah, I do think they would be good, would do well to learn off and from each other. Number 33, I'd love for black people and other minorities and POC to be tax exempt, and also provide tax incentives to those who invest in the black community. And again, to be a fully fledged member, you would have to be both black and a millionaire. But for this particular network, but there might be investors who are billionaires and come from other backgrounds as well. But in order to be an actual fully fledged member, for me, it would have to be that you'd fit the description of the group. So very particular with that kind of thing. I was going to say, I didn't know if I should say this because I know it's a bit off topic, but talking about my quirkiness, I'm admittedly rather weird or strange or whatever term you want to use, hopefully in a good way, weird and wonderful, I like that, or maybe not. But yeah, these, I'm wearing these as pajamas, but I suppose they normally could be used for like fancy clothes. As my family say to me, like when I get dressed to sit at home, I often dress up much smarter than when we go out. They're like, why do you dress up smart when you're at home and then not so smart when you go out? But I wouldn't know fashion very much, I guess. But yeah, but yeah, back to the topic. I'd love for black people and other minorities, maybe even to lobby together, as I've talked about recently, to be tax exempt. And I guess, as usual, I talk about what I hope to achieve from what I talked about in parts 1, 2, and 3. Number 34, and hopefully they can exceed expectations and achieve even more. I know I talked about, like, for instance, how I'd love for it to be worth $1 billion, but it could be billions, or I doubt it would get up to trillions, but with AI and all that kind of thing, new opportunities, who knows? But yeah, to make as much money as possible. And I also talked about how I'd love for black and other minority people not to join the military, but if you have other opportunities, I guess you're less likely to do so. I talk about like focusing on what you want to happen rather than what you don't want to happen, and rather than avoiding what you want to happen or what you fear, hoping. I like to focus on what you want to happen in your goals and dreams. I'd love to know what you think, as ever, about those thoughts or any thoughts I say, or anything else you want to comment. I think I forgot to say, please subscribe and like the video. video and all that kind of thing. I'd appreciate that. Number 35. I suppose I jumped ahead of myself. I should say it's important. Number 35. I normally think of like ambitions, black ambition, and I say in order to join, as I say, as a fully fledged member, there could be investors in this brand. It could be a brand, a network, a team, a group, or whatever you want to call it. But for me, it would have to fit the description of being both black and a millionaire. But again, investors could be other black people who want to become millionaires or who want to support their own community, or it could be people from other communities, or whoever believes in the idea, or whatever it might be. People might obviously, I assume you'd have to believe in the idea or want to support it in some way in order to invest. If you believe in it and or want to support it. But yeah, I sort of am a sucker for sort of sticking to. Although I'm someone who likes to challenge the status quo, I sort of stick to the description. If that makes sense. But yeah, hopefully it'll show black people what you can achieve in business and that kind of thing. Although, one thing I mentioned before, and again recapping what I talked about in parts 1, 2, and 3, is I mentioned about how, like, let's say a rapper, or a musician, a black musician, a black producer, director. I guess producers would normally be entrepreneurial, I guess, but or movie star, an actor, actress, singer, songwriter, or whatever. Inventor, ideas person, or whatever, but someone who's not experienced in entrepreneurship might get support to take their assets, take their money, and invest it into good assets and things like that. And I think, so yeah, let's say, I don't know, let's assume Lil Wayne. I mean, he might already have his own business or whatever, but let's assume, or an athlete, an American footballer, American type football, or a soccer player, or whatever, sports star, or whatever it might be, might have a lot of money, but they're not good with their business acumen. They don't have a business acumen. So if they didn't get a lot of money as a sports star or a doctor or whatever it might be, a lawyer or whatever, a solicitor or whatever, because I want this to be global. I know I'm focusing mainly on America, but this will be hopefully global. And I talked about how I'd love for it to be like events to be hosted in like Central Africa, if it's safe to do so, Niger, Nigeria, Cameroon, South Africa, especially South Africa and Central Africa, but also Egypt and all over Africa and all over the world. Maybe even like Japan might say, "Oh yeah, we want to invite these black entrepreneurs to come to our country as well to see what they can achieve." So they could ensure that people treat black people better as well. But yeah, as I say, if someone is a sports star or a musician or whatever it might be, but they don't know how to invest, they could get this group that could teach them how to invest. Another thing is, similarly, it could be someone who's fairly good at the business they've run, but if they wanted to go into a new area like music or movies or whatever it is, so they might be good at running a shop, but they want to learn how to invest more. They could learn a lot, as I said in point number 32, that they could learn a lot from each other. I think that's one of the biggest advantages potentially for joining this network, not just to already have a lot of money, but also to know how to use that money to make more money. So again, a lot of sports stars, musicians, or whatever, and people like that might have a lot of money because of the work they do. But even like doctors, medics generally, people who work in the legal profession and things like that, and those sorts of areas, again, musicians, sports stars as well, and that kind of thing, might earn a lot of money, but they might not be very good at knowing how to manage their money. Not saying I am, but I don't know if earn or manage money. So as I said before, it'd be quite fitting. It'd be quite, no, not fitting, it'd be quite a coincidence. Oh, what's the word? Not a coincidence, sorry. An irony, probably the opposite to a coincidence, if someone like me achieved setting something like this up. Again, I'd love to have 10% of the equity to invest in things like the town football, Celtic, libertarianism, people from former colonies, and tackling poverty and alleviating suffering and spreading peace, love, joy, hope, and happiness, what I call my 5 causes. Number 36, and talking of which, I'd love to see more African Americans and black people around the world investing into sponsoring, and maybe, I don't know about donating to, but investing into sponsoring, supporting and following Italian football, soccer, or whatever you want to call it, and improving relations between Italians and black people through soccer, Italian diplomacy through soccer, and that kind of thing. But yeah, so improving relations and that kind of thing, and hopefully it'll be a mutual benefit. So I'd love for, I was trying to remember my train of thought, but I'd love for Italian footy, soccer, or whatever you want to call it, as I say, to be more investable and attractive towards investors. And I suppose that's something the black community could look into as well. Like, so how can we be more attractive towards potential investors? Again, I think pooling money and resources together could be a really good thing. Even like Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Dubai, the UAE, and places like that might want to host black millionaires to come to their country, and they might have networking opportunities to network with millionaires who are not necessarily black as well. So again, to be a fully fledged member, you would have to be both black and a millionaire, but they would still network with others as well as this a part of this. What I want to make into a brand, and having a team and a network and a brand and a group and whatnot. So I hope that will make sense. Number 37, I talk about making life easier for each other and investing into Celtic, playing green and white, and have a Portuguese player. So I feel this cap is quite apt to talk about Celtic. Number 38, and showing what black people can achieve. And I'm hopeful that sometimes I wonder, am I being naive? Are people right to doubt my ideas? I know people have had objections, like saying, what would providing this network offer, which in this case black millionaires wouldn't be able to do. So they can already network with people, but having this hopefully a great brand would mean more people want to do business with them. They can put their name out there more, and hopefully, basically, to put it simply, they would have more opportunities to make even more money, and hopefully inspire even more black people as well. Most importantly, perhaps. So I suppose you could argue how much money you need, but I'll say for Black History Month. But I like to put these ideas out there. Hopefully they can increase their market value and their brand value, and find new opportunities to invest in new businesses and find easier ways to do things as a group. Hopefully they can make life easier for each other, as well as provide more opportunities, and again show what black people can achieve. And once again, like people, so I mentioned about Lonnie, the inventor of the Super Soaker. Really good at that, I forgot his surname. But people like that might have experience in terms of inventing things, but they might not know how to run a shop business or learn how to invest or whatever, so they can take their money and multiply even more, 10x it or even 100x it, hopefully, and that kind of thing. That's the dream, I guess. Number 39, and I think it'd be cool to see what they could achieve. And number 40, but what about you? I'd love to know what you think. And I hope people forgive me for this one, but I know I mentioned about misogynistic or sexist lyrics, because there is a lot of that in rap. I mean, maybe people could talk about changing perceptions. Maybe people could have more positive rap about tackling poverty, ending wars, or even treating women well, or whatever. I know I sound my little rap song that I could think of, or the lyrics that I could think of, like making my hard and my life easier. I'd love to see what they could achieve in the future. And again, I'd love to be a songwriter even for like Lil Wayne and others. And on that note, I'm out, and peace and love.